Hello, beautiful creators. Welcome to Creators on the Crest, and welcome to up-leveling your healing journey. What if your greatest pain is actually your soul's invitation to rise? Healing is definitely not linear, but your soul knows exactly where it's going. Settle in and let's have a look at our healing journey. First, we're going to pull some cards from the Crystal Visions. For our past, we got 9 of Swords. How about for the present? 3 of Wands. The future. These cards are getting sticky. Ooh, the High Priestess. Nice. And how about a timeless message representing our healing journey outside of time? The 3 of Cups. Ooh, I am really enjoying these energies already. When we are thinking about what we've been through in the past and our healing journey, a lot of people feel like it's scary or even counterproductive to acknowledge the wounding of the past, but it's also so important that we clear out the energies that have caused us trauma in the past. And this card reminds us that rest and rejuvenation, the therapy that we allow ourselves, the times that we go into the shadows to afford ourselves plenty of rest. It looks like for our creator tribe, everyone is doing a really nice job or has done a really nice job of honoring themselves and the rest and relaxation that they need after quite a big level of healing, something that had the potential to really stress us out. Now, this could be some specific life event, or it could also just be the ups and downs of the journey. And that's being acknowledged here in this card in the past position. In our present, we're moving into this 3 of Wands, and we've taken a seat here. We're really looking to up-level our healing journey, but how to do that? We want to move through some of the valleys of life a little bit more quickly. We want to face the challenges a bit more quickly and not to rush through it and not to miss things, but in order to have some sort of plan, some sort of idea for how we might meet the trials and tribulations that might still be a part of our life moving forward. It's unrealistic to say that healing won't be part of our journey this go around. We are here to transform a great amount of energy if we take the opportunity, and that's what the 3 of Wands reminds us of. There's also decision point here for many creators where I feel like more and more you are choosing your passion. And we have a little lion cub here next to the girl. That tells me that you are fully on board with bringing your inner child along for the next part of your journey. You've done some of the work, all right? So good work. Let's congratulate ourselves for what we've done. And why do we do it? We are gaining so much insight. We are up-leveling our intuition as we do our healing. We are also coming into a place of much knowledge. The High Priestess guards the gate to the Garden of Eden, to the sacred womb of humanity, and for us to be in alignment with her and be moving toward her in this future position with wisdom and insight as our guide, with balance as our guide, with knowing how to appropriately transmute and transform painful things. This would be, practically speaking, the kind of transformation that is done in a held sacred space, that is done in the proper container of therapy, that is done in the proper container of finding support and counseling, whether it be individual, couple, or in a small group. This is not the energy of acting out on our pain. This is not the energy of taking inappropriate steps to project our pain onto others. We're becoming acutely aware of this. We are taking our time with that 3 of Wands to really really make sure that these are the values that we uphold for ourselves, that we're taking that radical responsibility for our healing process so that we can move into the wisdom of the high priestess. Without that accountability, without the willingness to transform, it would be hard to move into that. Since we're doing it and we're acknowledging where we've come from, this is looking really nice and leading, I believe, to a more peaceful life. It's not that you won't continue to heal. It's not linear. It's an ongoing journey. There's going to be ups and downs. But in your psyche, in your being, in your body, and in your soul, it's going to improve for you to be a more peaceful experience. Also, drama-free. I feel drama-free here. The timeless message for our healing journey and how to up-level is to make sure we have a supportive community. You do not have to heal alone. In fact, most people cannot. It's by our contact with other people. It's by allowing ourselves to be vulnerable. It's by allowing ourselves to be supported by not only friends and family, but even a third neutral party. That is so, so important. And that can come in the form of a coaching container, a healing container, possibly even a course that you take with others, a yoga class. There are many ways that we can find how to accentuate our healing through our connections with others. And this is a timeless energy that the universe is saying, stick with it. It's beautiful. It's meant for you. Allow yourself to be supported by others. Now we're going to go into the Wild Wolf Tarot. I love this deck, and we're going to clarify these energies. Clarifying first, the Nine of Swords. What would the universe like us to know? Ooh, we got the Lover's card, Gemini energy, union, it says. So some of us are acknowledging that a lot of our healing journey has taken place in relationships and partnerships. Let's look at that Three of Wands there. The Emperor, masculine structure, number 4 card here. So we have a 3 and a 4. We're going to set up a good plan for ourselves moving forward. And I like that because our attention is really on that right now. It's not necessarily that we have to immerse completely in some sort of solid plan or structure, but we generally have an idea of how we're going to get there, and we're making healing part of a priority. The High Priestess is clarified by the 8 of Pentacles, or the 8 of Hunters in this deck, and that is education. You can see a lot of release of energy coming off the crown of this wolf. That's releasing old ideas about how to heal or what kind of even therapies are effective. I think some of you are moving into trying new things. The traditional counseling and psychotherapy is just not for you, and you're going to be moving into educating yourself about what other containers are available. To clarify the Three of Cups, we have the Three of Swords, or the Three of Watchers, and it says separation. This is the underlying energy that's coming through timelessly from the universe. We have getting together for support and growth and getting that third party perspective. On the flip side, we have the Three of Swords, the separation and the pain. When we keep ourselves isolated and we do not prioritize our healing practice, that's what can result. So that's a very potent double-sided message there. Let's look back here at the Nine of Swords briefly with this Lover's card. Okay, so remember I said Gemini energy is connected to the Lovers, duality, union. A lot of you have been able to take your past experiences and you've been able to see them from a different perspective than you initially experienced or dealt with. Because you have gone through some of the layers of healing, loving yourself, even having this mirrored in a partner. So for some of you, this has been in relationships. This indicates that you've done some of the hard work to process some of this energy. For some of you, your healing journey very much is defined by the relationships you've had, and it's been one of the ways that you've learned. So whether you relate to the healing journey from the perspective of relationships, or you're understanding that, yes, yes, I do have a different perspective on that now. It's something that used to stress me out. It used to really bring me down. It used to depress me or cause me anxiety. Now I'm able to see it from a more holistic perspective. And I think that's lovely energy that has helped you graduate into the present energies where you're setting up more priorities and structure around how you want to move forward in your healing process. What I feel with this masculine emperor energy coming in, a bit of a taming of the ego, allowing the ego to know that rest assured you have a plan and you know how you're going to be moving forward. You know that you're bringing along the past versions of yourself because those are the ones that contain the actual lessons. You've been able to heal those enough that you're ready to come up with a new plan for moving forward. We're moving from a 3 to a 4, so we're taking a graduated step, gaining control of our ego. We're not going to be afraid to cry in front of someone. We're not going to have to uphold the mask of staying strong in front of everyone all the time. We're going to evaluate and recognize where our safe spaces are, and we're going to appropriately dedicate the time that we need into those spaces so that we can come out of those spaces in a more balanced energy. That's going to be some really interesting work because when we are reminding the ego that it's okay to proceed, the ego likes to push back with a little bit of fear. So that's something to be aware of. I don't think it's going to stop any of you, but I do think it will come up. There might be a little checking of the ego going on and needed for you. In the future position, we have the High Priestess combined with the Eight of Pentacles education. This is you taking education in a different direction than you might define it from the normal everyday life and societal norms. This is you educating yourself in the mysteries of who you are, the mysteries of your soul, the mysteries of your intuition and how your body informs you. I would not be surprised if many of you begin to have a lot more what I would describe as sensitivity arise in the upcoming months and years. It's going to be nice for you because you have a combination of the release of old limiting patterns and belief systems from the mind and an embracing of the requirements for living a soul-led life. That is going to be your ultimate healer, living your purpose, living your soul-led life, which is very, very related to this series that I'm doing on up-leveling. We've talked about career, we've talked about relationships, we talked about our spiritual journey, we've talked about our self-confidence and esteem. I love these energies together. They feel very grounded and very positive for releasing what needs to be released and stepping more into that soul level. We have a lot of butterflies flying around the High Priestess here. That's a lot of transformation, and that's the energy that carries us into that Garden of Eden, that carries us into the nurtured, nourished, sacred womb of humanity and of the human experience. Now, looking at this from a timeless perspective is also quite fun. I wanted to make sure that while we're looking at a progression of time, that we also hold space for the timeless. This is memory, soul memory of being together in past lives and working together in sacred circles, sacred circumstances, having missions and purposes that aligned and overlapped. Also having those things taken away from us with that 3 of Watchers there. So we could look at the timeline, right? If we experience the timeline like a big spiral that goes upward and it goes round and round, and at some point there's this apex of timelessness, we can see all the ways that we've interacted before. The message is that while there's healing that's going to be ongoing in this incarnation, there is so much power and there is so much reprieve and there is so much understanding in connecting with other humans who maybe have had similar experiences or are skilled and and are able to hold sacred space, healing space, and safe space for you. It's not to give up on that. It's to know we are going to hold to that even more. We're not going to let anyone prevent us from being with and interacting with and learning with our soul tribe. That is so important to have on the healing journey, your soul tribe. Let's look at the Shaman's Dream Oracle to pull a card for what else we need to know about our healing journey. Universe, what is our highest and best message from a shamanic perspective of combining spirit and earth? Ooh, we got number 41, the Moon Maiden, New Beginnings. And this tells me that many of you are entering into levels of shadow work that likely won't even feel like shadow work at all. It's as if the moon is at your fingertips. It's as if you are already connected with her healing energy. You are already connected with the diffusion of the healings of the past, of the pain of the past. It's already been diffused. I'm feeling a very diffuse feeling here with some of those more triggering pain points being dissolved and diffused. You now have the capability to break through to this new beginning. It does feel like a rebirth to me. We've got a lot of water and depth of emotion here. In fact, she appears to be underwater and she is rising up. Through her own shadow work, she is lifted up. That is what is beautiful about this card, this reminder. It affords us a little gentleness amidst great change. New beginnings, if you think of the birth portal, they can be quite intense. They can be surging, the waxing and the waning, the rise and the fall, but there's a rhythm to it. And we're being asked to catch that rhythm because enough pain has been healed and diffused that we can take this to the next level here. This is part of our evolution, and we'll see where we evolve to next. Some of that is still hidden from us. You hear people talk about 3D, 4D, 5D, 6D, 7D, where are we, D? I wouldn't get too wrapped up in that, in the deceptions around the dimensions, the ascension, all of that. It's more about how you rise up through your own energies right here, right now, connected to the timelessness of your soul. That's what it's more about. I don't know that anyone else can really define that for you. I think it's something that we define ourselves. We're going to go to the Empath's Oracle next and get another Oracle card. That's beautiful what we received about the diffusion and the Moon Maiden and the new beginnings for our healing journey. What else do we need to know? Ooh, and this goes along perfectly. We got number 10, Seeking Healing Water. This is now telling me to remind all of you to have a good look at your astrological chart. Be sure to take a good look at where the water signs are: Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. This could also be the way in which you work with water, the way you hydrate yourself, going swimming, being close to a body of water. I would steer clear of highly polluted water and try to get to the clearest possible water you can, the more untouched places. For example, I had the opportunity to visit Destin, Florida, and not far from there is a place called Cypress Springs. It's a large cold water spring that comes straight out of the ground, and it was like being in the womb of Mother Earth. If there's any places near you that you can research and find where you can find that clear water, that clean water, that fresh water coming straight from the mother herself, that would be ideal. But there are many ways you can work with your relationship with water, so keep that in mind. That's coming up, and that's part of the Moon Maiden energy and the water that I saw there. Water is fluid. It's something that you can break through. You can rise through it, and that's what we're being encouraged to do here. Let's get a rune to close off our reading. I've got these rune staves. I'm just going to give them a good mix. This one here is coming out. Very interestingly, we got Isa, I-S-A. Isa is connected to ice. So we have a form of water that is at a standstill or a stasis. And it can represent those times in the healing process where things are constrained, where there is very slow expansion, where we might have those those emotional blocks or those times where we felt separated. There is collective healing going on here. I'm getting the words chip away at the ice. You don't have to pound it with a hammer, but with a little ice pick, just chip away at the ice that might be around your heart that has you at a standstill. This rune is very good at reinforcing the messages or the energies around it. It has the ability to help us lock our healing journey and plan into place, as we saw with the Emperor. It has the ability to align us. Look how aligned it is. It's just like a single line, like Roman numeral 1 or a number 1. And the High Priestess is a number 2. So Isa comes in, connected to the number 1 magician card of the tarot, and says, I'm going to help you found ground and lock your energy into the High Priestess. So very interesting how we got the different phases too of water coming up here that we can work with. Ice baths or a cold shower might also be really helpful for you. It's very interesting that I had talked about Cypress Springs, which is cold water. It's almost too cold to bear when you first get in, but it's so hot there that it feels amazing. And once you're used to it, you don't want to get out. I would love to hear how you felt about this in the comments below. Be sure to check the description. If you're on your healing journey and would like a personal reading, I do have a link for that in there. And I would love for you to make sure you're subscribed, hit that like button and the notification bell so that you get all these readings when they're first dropped. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. I wish you all the best on your healing journey and with your plan moving forward. And I'll see you next time.